Welcome back to another episode of the Lost Codex, a place dedicated to the people, places, and histories of Azeroth's universe. Today, we return to an older chapter in the archives, the fall of the Titan Keepers. In the previous segment, we learned of Loken's dark bargain with Helia, the death and reconstruction of Keeper Mimiron, and the attack on both Keeper Freya and Keeper Hodir. Today, we learn of Keepers Tyr and Yrgrim in the time period known as the Winterskorn War. Unbeknownst to Loken, Tyr had long suspected that a dark, growing presence had started to stir within the mind of the traitorous Keeper. When Loken's forces marched on Hodir's Temple of Winter, Tyr witnessed firsthand the depravity of his brother's fallen mind. Knowing Loken would come for him next, Tyr sought out Yrgrim and a Vanir giantess named Yrgrim and fled to the outermost cliffs of the Storm Peaks. In time, after sending scores of Titanforged to scour the wastes and concluding that Tyr had in fact fled, Loken turned his eyes to Ulduar and took full control of the colossal city. His first act was to reprogram the Titan technology to acknowledge him as Prime Designate. With the vast city under his control, Loken shut down the Forge of Wills and banished most of his Titanforged servants from the vast, sprawling terraces of Ulduar. As Loken languished in regret within the silent, empty halls of Ulduar, the exiled Titanforged spread across the frozen, mountainous region of northern Kalimdor. As the massive giants vanished into the mountains and surrounding seas, the Earthen dug vast tunnels and caverns within the earth, while the Iron Vrykul split off into clans, venturing far and wide across the northern wastes. For a time, a tenuous peace existed between the Titanforge exiles. But such a peace could not last, as malevolent forces stalked through the treacherous northern landscape. The fire giants Ignis and Vulcan saw the vast, frozen wastes as a region ripe for conquest, and to do so, they would need an army. Their eyes fell upon the Winterskorn, a Vrykul clan known for their wanton bloodlust and thirst for violence. The fire giants forged armor and enchanted weapons that would allow the Winterskorn to cut through the stone and metal bodies of other Titanforge. In addition to their newly equipped armies, Ignis and Vulcan created molten golems and iron constructs to serve as siege weapons in the Winterskorn ranks. Their war began with the Earthen. Scores of enraged Vrykul stormed their cavernous dwellings, and although their numbers were vast, the Earthen were ill-equipped to withstand an attack from such a massive, well-organized enemy. As thousands of Earthen were cut down in their homes, small pockets of survivors escaped and sought out Tyr and his companions for protection. Tyr rallied the bravest Earthen and led them into battle, as Yrgrim and Yrgrim crafted vast fortifications to help protect the vulnerable Titanforged. With the Titan Keeper's help, the Earthen temporarily drove off the Winterskorn forces and bought themselves a moment of reprieve. Vulcan and Ignis had not come this far to watch their armies crumble, and with renewed fury, the fire giants returned to their searing forges to bolster their numbers. Across the region, the Winterskorn continued their relentless assaults on smaller and more vulnerable earthen dwellings. In one such group, a vicious Vrykul by the name of Yrgrim carried out these attacks with an unrelenting thirst for battle. According to a set of ancient earthen tablets titled The Winterskorn War, Yrgrim and his fellow raiders fought their way into an earthen settlement and ruthlessly began their slaughter. As the leader of the raiding party raised his weapon to cut down the terrified survivors, another weapon arced through the air and sundered the Winterskorn to pieces. Yrgrim's sudden betrayal had cut the other Winterskorn off guard. Before they could act, Yrgrim swung and cut down the rest of his battle-crazed kin with relentless speed.
Follow me and leave. Stay here, and this place will be your tomb.
Yrgrim's bloodlust had lifted amidst the slaughter, and the realization of the horror and dishonor he had committed had cleared his mind. Yrgrim led the earthen survivors to Tyr, and expected the Titan Keeper to execute him for the innocent lives he had taken in the battles prior. To Yrgrim's surprise, Tyr did not cut down the Vrykul.
I cannot wash the blood from your hands. No one can. All I can offer you is a way forward. Stand by my side. Hunt the wicked with the same ferocity you once used to hunt the earthen. Do this, and you will find the path to redemption.
Emboldened by the Keeper's words, Yrgrim swore an oath to follow Tyr and carry out his teachings and noble ideals. On that day, by Tyr's request, Arcadus crafted a shield and sword like no other and gifted it to Yrgrim. As Tyr and his companions continued to aid the Earthen, the Fire Giants emerged with a new plan. From their forges, they created enchanted snares that would enslave the nearby protodrakes. These creatures, now added to the ranks of the Winterskorn army, were not to be used as mounts, but rather as beasts of war. Their wings were armed with deadly, fiery weapons that would be used to inflict devastating damage and terror upon their enemies on the ground. Although Yrgrim had managed to bring a few of the Winterskorn over to his side, Tyr's armies were vastly unprepared for the Winterskorn's second attack. Desperate for salvation, Tyr called upon the 5 dragon aspects of Azeroth and beseeched their aid. Horrified at the slaughter of countless Titanforged and the enslavement of their protodrake kin, the aspects knew they could remain idle no longer and answered Tyr's call. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Lost Codex. In the wake of returning to one of our older chapters, I'd like to give a special shout out to Hypnos and Sir Thompshire for their edited model work that allowed us to give this moment in lore a little more flair. Hypnos has created not only an updated model for Loken and Arcadus, because, you know, they still use the vanilla model, which is great, but also a custom, self-imagined image of what Keeper Tyr once looked like. So Thompshire's model and texture edit gave us the ability to show some variety in the Iron Vrykul with his own version, and, well, he did try to create a female Earthen, which looked okay. At first. Ah, you tried, sir. You tried. But yes, a huge special thanks to both these talented, wonderful individuals. As always, I'd like to give a warm, special shout out to all of our patrons for their love and support. Without them, our goal and dream of doing these videos full time would be so much further away, and their support brings that dream one step closer. If you'd like to not only join them and help us get closer to that goal, but also see your name in the credits at the end of a Lost Codex video, head on over to patreon.com/thelostcodex and check out some of our tiers and rewards. And lastly, but most certainly not least, a warm, special shout out to the Lost Codex Discord community. If you haven't joined us, what are you waiting for? I say this every video. Join us, join the fun, make some awesome wicked friends. We are, as I've said before, the best damn community in the entire world of Warcraft. So why wait? Join us. Links down below. Join the Lost Codex Discord community. Join in on all the channels, all the fun, all the BlizzCon hype. And, you know, all the announcements for our special edited streams and other shenanigans that go on over at twitch.tv/lostcodexlore. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching these videos, and if you enjoyed seeing Loken, Tyr, and Arcadis on screen, give the video a thumbs up. And if you hate the Titan Keepers, or Earthen, or Vrykul, give the video a thumbs down, I guess. If you want. Toss a comment up, subscribe, if you haven't. Yes, anyways, stay tuned for the continuation of the Winterskorn War coming soon. TM.